And no, this is not deja vu. We are wearing the same clothes as we did because that is the way Magic Television is. This is Friday morning. We're talking about a Sunday night event, and you're seeing it on Saturday. Imagine that. This is our NFL preview for 705 Sports.
And exactly, you get to watch this instead of being outside shoveling snow. Thanks, Craig, for predicting all this snow that we're getting currently.
Well, tomorrow when you're watching this, it'll be minus 15 and sunny, and a lot of people will be out, but hopefully you're here watching this.
They will be, nice and warm.
Yes, and we are talking everything to do with the Super Bowl.
We are, so let's start off by looking at how each team got here, because if you went back, no one predicted this as your Super Bowl. So let's start with how the Bengals got here, and this graphic's coming up on your screen, and they did it by a lot of field goals.
And a lot of field goals and a lot of surprise.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's really running that offense strong, and they did it. Both teams had to go through the wild card to get here. And Bengals did it by taking down the Raiders, making the Titans offense look like they don't know what they're doing, and somehow beating the Chiefs in overtime even without the coin toss in their favor.
Yeah, Mahomes forgot to show up.
And then now let's get into how the Rams got to the Super Bowl. So the Rams got here, and oh wow, the graphic's already on your screen. Look at Mike being all proficient. The Rams got here in a similar format. The only difference is they do have at least one game where they blew their opponent out of the water.
Okay, but Arizona Cardinals, who started out being an NFC championship possible winning team, blew a wheel about halfway through the season. That didn't, well, more than one wheel, but they blew a wheel and went off the road. The interstate took them off.
Yeah.
Took the off-ramp. That wasn't a surprise. Rams beating the Bucks. That was probably the hardest game to get here. Although they're 20-17 against the Niners because the Niners defense, and there's the Rams' problem. They're going to run into a relatively strong defense in Cincinnati too.
They are, and you know what? We have a graphic that's going to come up on your screen, Dan. I love the way you segue. Getting in to the Bengals team defense. So when you look at this, they are a team that will create turnovers and pressure the quarterback, but you will get yardage against them.
Not only will they create turnovers, though, that's part of their game. They need the turnovers to win.
They do, 100%. And we saw, as you can see on your screen there, with that, they are a team that creates them and makes big plays. And their best game defensively was definitely against the Chiefs from the end of that second quarter on. They pressured Mahomes. They created interceptions. They pressured the receivers to make it harder for them to make the catches. They did what the Bills could not. And this is what we could see from the Bengals on the Super Bowl, is their strong defense to make the right plays at the right time.
Here's a question. Will you see at least one flea flicker during the Super Bowl?
That's a possibility.
I wonder if there's a betting line on that. There's a betting line on almost everything. There's probably a betting line on that for sure, where you see at least one flea flicker. But because those are meant for defenses like this that chase down the quarterback. I think you'll see a little more screen game play.
Yes.
Out of the Rams too, just trying to keep the pressure off of Stafford. So.
But when we look at this, and when you saw on the graphic earlier, the Bengals will let you build up yardage. They don't mind if you drive down the field. They'll just stop you from scoring. Or they keep you to 3 points, which is what we've seen a lot in these playoffs.
They remind me a lot of the Eagles defense when we won the championship.
Back in what, like the Donovan McNabb era?
No, I'm even thinking back as far as just the most recent one.
Okay, yeah.
With Foley.
Right.
Because they call it bend, don't break. Bend all you want. Get to your 20, don't break, don't give up.
And you know what? Another team that does that as well, for our CFL viewers, the Bengals defense reminds me of the Blue Bombers defense.
Right.
They'll let you get yardage. They don't care about that. And as you can see again,
once the yards get short and there's less ground to defend, that's where they excel.
Exactly. But you know, the Rams defense is nothing to
stick your nose up at? No.
No, and we have a graphic that's going to come up on your screen of the Rams. And so the Rams create less turnovers and don't pressure the quarterback as much. But they don't let you get as much yardage unless you're Tom Brady. And even though most of Tom Brady's yardage in that game was in the second half. But in the first half of that game, their defense was excellent. It was egg salad sandwich.
By the numbers, and we're going to see this in a minute after Brady shows how he half-decently tried to tear apart the Rams defense. By the numbers, I'm looking at this graphic here, and it'll be up once this is done running. But we have a defense in the Rams that should be better than that Bengals defense. But personally, watching all the games that I've watched for the year and then now this, visually, the Bengals defense looks better. In my honest opinion of watching Bengals footage and Bengals games in the playoffs here, the eye test to me shows a better Bengals defense than a Stafford defense.
And you know what? I would say these defenses are pretty even. The Rams don't let you get as much going. They have a fantastic run defense. I'd say the Rams have the advantage in the run defense, and the Bengals have the advantage of making big plays and creating turnovers. This is one I think they're pretty even, but I have to agree with you, Dan. I think the Bengals, not by the numbers, but just by watching the games and breaking down the plays, I think the Bengals defense has a slight edge, but the Rams are not going to let the Bengals offense do whatever the heck they want.
No, and before we get on to our break and our sponsors and everybody else, one other thing I heard just a few times this week, well, this isn't the Super Bowl the NFL wanted. No, it's probably not. It doesn't have Rodgers, it doesn't have Brady, and it doesn't have Mahomes. So it most likely is, and doesn't have Josh Allen to an extent. It most likely isn't the game that the NFL wanted. If they were to go out at the beginning of the year and say this was going to be their feature game around a concert, they probably would have been on it at best. However, both of these teams have earned the right to be here.
100%.
Both of these teams have proved to be, at times, the best teams in the NFL. And it takes a little luck. It takes a lot of good play to get to this point. So both of these teams deserve to be here, whether the NFL wanted it or not.
But with a little luck, we'll get paid with our sponsors. So stay right there and come on right back, where we're going to go over both teams' offense and our predictions on who's going to take this one.
Shop local, dine local, listen local, love local. Small businesses in the Algoma area have been a huge part of our community. Now is the time to show our support for them. From local markets to retail stores, music venues, and restaurants, small businesses make up the backbone of our community. So go on, embrace all they have to offer by shopping, dining, listening, and loving local. Visit ssmcoc.com to learn more or to join the chamber today.
So we covered all the defense. We had a little bit of a small rant. Sorry about that. But now we have to go look at the offense.
When
then
do
you
we
get to
not
hear.
Rant, though?
I don't know. But then you get to hear our predictions. But I want to give mine now, but I'm not going to.
No.
The offense for the Bengals is where we're starting with Mr. Burrows. He has played in big games.
He has. You know what? He's done a lot in the college level. He's also been around the game for a very long time, with his dad being a CFO quarterback, which I think you really see the CFO influence in the way he just does not quit. However, the receiving core for the Bengals, it's okay. It's not...
There's no big name.
There's no big names, but there's no one bad.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a solid...
He's got lots of B-plus options.
Yes, like, I mean, you have a tight end who pretty much catches anything that's thrown at him. You have two wide receivers who can really break the game open.
I swear he has sticky glue on his hands.
And you know what, too? Your running back, and their running game is decent, with averaging just under 4 yards a carry. But what I really want to get into here, and you mentioned Joe Burrow, Dan.
Never throw it. If they run 4 yards a carry, you never need to throw it in the NFL.
You're 100% right. And we're looking there, like, look, there's the tight end again. It's looking like glue. But what I love with this quarterback, and you're seeing it here, he never gives up on a play. But unlike Mahomes last week, or 2 weeks ago now, he has a plan. He has instincts. Because remember, CFO,
and he's smart enough to throw it out of bounds.
He is, which in the CFO you can't even do. But you can in the NFL, and you can see there's a lot of plays here that the play looks dead. Like, here's a perfect example. This looks like a sack. Nope.
To be very honest, that should have been a sack.
But it wasn't. From a quarterback who doesn't give up, and mind you, soft defense on the KC's part. But if Joe Burrow can do that against the Rams defense, which is going to be harder.
You mean if he can put like Vaseline on his pants so he doesn't end up being tackled? Yeah, then he's going to be okay.
Yeah. But no Vaseline, as Ice Cube says, because I don't think they're going to be letting them. Tom Brady's not here to cheat this year. I'm going to come out and say it. So hopefully we actually have a fair matchup.
I'm just saying that it is a way to make sure that everything is slippery.
True. But now, let's head over to the Rams offense, which you could argue the Rams offense is better than the Bengals. You have Matt Stafford, who is a veteran quarterback, who's having a phenomenal playoffs, by the way.
Okay, can you give him veteran quarterback status when he played all those years in Detroit? That's still like playing B-League football.
I'd still say yes. He did take Detroit to the playoffs a couple times. Just couldn't get past the first round because Detroit's terrible and they had no receivers, which...
20-some-odd years now.
They have receivers in Coop, who is the best receiver in the NFL, and Odell Beckham Jr., who's looking like the Odell Beckham Jr. that we saw 5 or 7 seasons ago.
Without the sometimes attitude problems that came with him.
The big glare for me will be their running game with Aker. When I checked the depth charts on Thursday, it was showing that Sony Michael, will be the starting running back. The running game has been lackluster at best for the Rams. It's been you air it or you do nothing, which can work, doesn't always work, and the Bengals have a type of defense that is pretty good against the run. But Matt Stafford doesn't throw the picks the way we've seen other teams throw the picks. So the Rams...
He's always been good at not throwing picks. He's always seemed to have that extra ball awareness, almost that sixth sense of seeing where people are moving on the field, which is missed by younger quarterbacks like Burrows. And the pressure's going to be interesting to see how that affects them.
You know, I honestly don't know if either team has a whole lot of pressure, either offense, because neither team was expected to be here. The only bigger pressure is the Rams are at home. So, right, if this game goes south quick, could be a disaster, but I think the Rams offense... This is going to be the Bengals' toughest. I think their toughest battle
Bengals
yet.
need to win the toss and go and score 7 in the first 2 to 3 minutes of the game.
Put the pressure on the Rams' offense, and if not, the Rams' offense is going to.
Either team gets down 14, it's over.
I don't think I totally agree with you there on that one, Dan. But now let's put up our final graphic for the Super Bowl, which is who's got the edge. And this is more breaking down the offense. And we talk about the Rams. So they have 84 points in total. Their quarterback is very experienced, but he is a pocket passer. You will not see Stafford run very often because that's just not the way he plays.
He's not very fast.
They have 2 big play wide receivers in Coop and Odell Beckham Jr., but their running game is, I would probably say, the worst in these playoffs. It's been terrible. Then we got the Bengals. You have a second-year quarterback who's very mobile, with a young receiving core, but all the receivers are in their mid-20s. Like, this is a very young team, Cincinnati, but they've been performing well. And last but certainly not least, the stronger running game, which I think, Dan, you can agree or disagree with me, but running games usually are what win Super Bowls. It's usually
defense wins Super Bowls.
Yes.
Defense wins championships. It doesn't matter if it's hockey, basketball.
What about golf?
Okay. Even in curling lately, defense seems
wins.
to win championships, and they're trying to fix that. But defense here wins championships. I believe the stronger defense in Cincinnati, and although the odds right now as of 10:15 on Friday morning are for the Rams by 4, which means more than a field goal.
Field goal and a safety?
Field goal and a safety would do it, yeah. Or a field goal and somebody misses a extra point somewhere along the line, because that's not as easy as it used to be.
No, it's not. People are missing those a lot this
I
year.
have to go with the Bengals.
By how many?
I'm going to go Bengals by 7.
I'm going Bengals as well, but by 3. The Bengals, McPherson, which is someone we don't have a graphic for, but I do want to talk about him quickly, their field goal kicker, is clutch. He is money in the bank, and he's proving why teams should draft a kicker.
And both of your coaches, first-time Super Bowls, some of the youngest coaches in the NFL. So there's not going to be an out-coach scenario. It's really going to be an outplay scenario, and everybody's going to play really loose because nobody expected them to be here.
No. Now, when we're both predicting the Bengals, would I be surprised if the Rams win?
No, not a chance.
Not at all. I think the Rams are to be honest, if you go strictly by the numbers, the Rams are better. The Rams' defense allows less points, their offense is more experienced, and the quarterback, this isn't his first playoff run. So in theory, the Rams should win this game. But I'm just going by my gut, and I'm saying the Bengals, they're riding that momentum. And if they can repeat what they did against the Chiefs in the second half.
They're almost the Cinderella story of the NFL playoffs this year.
But will they be like the Montreal Canadiens in the NHL a year ago and run out of gas by the finals?
It depends who the referees want to win.
And it depends how much gas costs there.
Yeah, don't even get us started on that. With that, there's our NFL special all taped, all ready for you guys to see on Saturday. Thank you for joining us. We only have one paper for this time around.
I kept some pages from earlier. You know what? Here you go, Dan. I'm sharing is caring. So thank you so much for watching. We will break down this game next week's show. But until then, see you next time. It's Jake Moore, sports analyst, back in the On TV studios, letting you know that 705 Sports now has 2 shows a week. We still have the 705 Sports that airs every Friday at noon, but we've expanded to now have a show every Wednesday. 705 Sports Headlines will be a show that is much more condensed, that is very fast-paced, going over the main topics of the week in sports. 705 Sports on Fridays will still cover everything in sports in a full show format. This gives you a chance to really see what's going on in the sports world, whether you have a couple minutes or you got a half an hour. So make sure you join me, Dan Gray, on Fridays and multiple different guests every Wednesday, every Friday at noon, only on TV and Sue Online's Facebook.